Okay, so officially good morning, everybody. Welcome to the May Online Hair and Barbering Collective. I am your hairdressing host, as always, Nicola Steinbach, and I'm the Key Account Manager for Scotland and Northern Ireland. And I have a new wing woman joining me today. Please introduce yourself, my fellow wing woman, Claire Pye.
Morning, everybody. My name is Claire Pye, and I'm head of FE and independent training providers here at VTCT Skills.
Thank you, Claire. And Claire is also a hairdresser by trade. So I'm very happy to have Claire joining us on the collectives. So what do we have planned for you all today? So as always, we have a packed agenda with two guest stylists, guest artists for you who are here to share their knowledge and skills with you, our hairdressing and barbering audience. So today I'm joined by Robert Russo, who is the head judge for AHT and also part of the World Skills team. I'm joined again since last month, we were joined also by Kerry. We have Kerry Galliano, who is representing Ergo Styling Tools with a fantastic talk on all things ergonomics and demonstration. I'm going to be sharing with you what is coming up for the rest of this term with VTCT Skills in regards to events and also looking at when our next meeting. So that you know, we only have one more meeting left for the Hair and Barbering Collective of the academic year because we are moving into almost summertime. I'm sure you will all be very relieved to be seeing the end in sight of this term. So I'm going to introduce first of all our because he's not just the head judge, he's the president as well, actually. I've had the pleasure of being part of the judging team for the AHT for the past 3 years now, and my wing woman here for today, Claire Pye, is also an ambassador for the AHT. And throughout the last 3 years of judging, I've been judging all over the country in both the regional heats and the national finals as well, which have just been. And it's been an amazing opportunity to be part of this competition work, but also professionally, having worked alongside Robert for the past few years. He's a wealth of knowledge with an absolutely extensive career in this industry. So I thought it would be great on the back of the competitions to invite Robert along to talk to everybody today and kind of get a little bit of an understanding of the whole world of competitions, direction of travel, and also the benefits for your colleges and for your students as well. So, good morning, Robert. How are you today?
Good morning from the sunny South Coast. Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. So let's just kick this straight off, Robert, by telling us a little bit about you and your career, because I know you've got huge wealth of knowledge and experience.
Right, so really it was competition work that got me started. I wasn't even a hairdresser. I was in training to be a solicitor, and a friend of mine from school said, "Oh, can you come down the top ranked suite?" Because his girlfriend was in what was then the L'Oreal Colour Trophy heat. So I went down there, and a month later I was working in the hairdressers.
Oh,
That's how
wow.
So that's how I got. So it was a competition, the interest in the competition that got me into it. Obviously, then I went to college, and through competition, well, obviously we had competitions at the end of our academic year, and it was there I was spotted by a local employer and offered my first job. So
Wow.
yeah, then I went obviously working a bit later on, well, a few years later on, went into education, um, became the competition manager for the AHT. What else have I done? Was the president, I was the chairman, and yeah, then in 2003, I was the UK expert at World Skills. I did 7 cycles at World Skills, 3 of which I was chief expert. and now I'm a skill advisor for World Skills and UK Skills, and I still judge competitions alongside Nicola.
Wow. Um, and what have been your career highlights? What stood out for you? Because you know there's such a diverse. Is it something from that got you into it? Is it where you are now? What are your highlights?
I think one of the highlights, obviously it is through sort of like AHT, was that my college, when I went into teaching, we won the best overall college and we were the best region. And um, we never used to force our students into doing it. And if they wanted to do competition work, they're interested, and you've got to show interest. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I finish at 5," but you just got to put the work in. If they're prepared to put the work in, you should be supporting them as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. And how do you think then that competitions have evolved over the years?
Definitely. I mean, Nicola, you'll probably know because one of the things that I said about the AHT this year, our competitions, is that we've got an audience out there. It's the future generations and lecturers. And I can remember, years ago, I did my first competition 5 weeks into hairdressing, and back then in the day, you used to look at the judges and I used to think, what do they know? I said they look like they're going to dinner and dances, with sort of like chains around their neck. So I think I'm old, I've got to admit, but I want the audience needs to think that, people that are out there on the competition floor judging their work, we're in a fashion industry, we should look the part. So, yeah. Not
Yeah.
not wearing something that you shouldn't appropriate for your age. But I think our judges this year really look good actually on the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I think that certainly as judges we take our responsibility really seriously, don't we?
Mm,
So,
mm,
you know, we can totally see. I think we've had record numbers of entries this year in the HT from the
yeah,
regionals and the nationals. I mean, in some competitions we were in, including the nationals, there was over 500 students
500 in the
competing.
northwest, wasn't it? Yeah, 500
Yeah,
and
so
500 in the over 500 in the northeast. Yeah,
yeah, so we've had Scotland, all the different
yeah,
regions, different levels of participation, but certainly it's becoming something that um, it's we take our role very seriously when we
mm.
see the work and the effort that these people put into the
Yeah, and I think
entering the competitions.
yeah, what you said earlier about how they've evolved. I mean, back in sort of like my day, and sort of, I'm sure many of the people that are listening now know the word of OMC, but that type of work you would never. Okay, it looks great, but it's not what you would see out. It's not what you're going to send a client. All our competitions now and world skills and Euro skills have gone that way down the line, that it is something commercial. You're not asking them to do something that they would never ever do. Okay, we have a fantasy competition, but that is catwalk. So everything that we do is really what it could be expected of the student or the learner in industry.
Yeah, that leads me on really nicely actually to my next question for you. And I think something that we talk about quite a lot, and I know that both myself and Claire together and individually have done quite a lot of events, both online and face to face, where we've talked a lot about the learner of today and the sometimes they're coming in post-COVID generation at a slightly lower level than they were before. Confidence and communication is a big challenge. Their resilience is often a bit lower. And I think that seeing them coming into competitions really does help them with kind of building those resilience and those kind of communication and confidence skills. And you touched on it there, but why do you think that students should enter competitions? How will it benefit them from entering industry now and making them more industry ready?
I think, obviously, like me, as I say, that's how I got my first job was by, in a competition, my college competition, obviously, local employers were coming along and they actually, you know, hopefully they can see talent. um, but also, yes, I agree with you that, this, I had nearly 22 years in further education, and the students, from my first year were totally different to my students and they must be even more difficult now. But I think there was some lovely feedback that we got at the AHT where learners were supported. They had a learning assistant with them, and it built their confidence up. Um, I mean, basically, life is a competition. It's not just hairdressing. If you're going for an interview, you're probably competing against somebody else. So it just makes that person that little bit special. And, if you've got anybody with, in your cohort of students, you can spot them straight away. But you should also encourage the others because there's some people that are a little bit backward in coming forward. They're a bit shy or whatever. So, just don't dismiss people. Look at everybody's opportunities and
Yeah.
give them all the support you can.
Yeah, and I think it helps them build confidence in because to walk onto that competition
Mm,
floor and we do see it sometimes, as soon as you go near them, they're shaking a little bit, they're nervous, but
mm,
that is helping prepare them for ultimately, working face to face with people in a salon and getting
mm,
ready for trade tests and things like that as they progress into their career.
mm.
But certainly you're right. I think it's really important to ensure that it's equal, isn't it? That everybody gets
Yeah.
the opportunity
And I
to.
think it's like getting back to our regions where, I didn't do all the regional heats, but he did most of them. And it's, where we can, where we've got the time, we will always give feedback. And I can remember too, the winner of one of the competitions in our Midlands heat. I said, yeah, it's really lovely. I said, but you've done two flicks. I said, they look two-pieced. I said, do it again and just make it a single flick. Um, Came to the final. There it was. It looked beautiful. She'd listened to the feedback.
Yeah.
If they don't listen, that's fine. But it's lovely when you see a head that you've given feedback to and they've improved on it, which is
Yeah,
really
it,
good.
it it is. It really is all the joy. I do love giving feedback as well, but um I so when they win, I almost cry for everybody that wins, regardless. We don't know where they're from until we see them going up on stage, but it is really so rewarding to see. So the online collective is made up of it's predominantly all college lecturers. So whether they're live on this or watching the recording afterwards, what would be your kind of advice to them about preparing their students for competition work?
Right. Those that already, enter their students for competition work, that's great. But even for those that do, it's really read the brief, what the rules are, because sometimes, I've had to give feedback and it's like I've said, you should have done that. Oh, well, my lecturer told me to do this. It's sometimes it's not the student's fault that, they haven't performed as they should. So that is the most important thing to do straight away is look at the rules. If anybody is unsure about anything, can I do this? Can I do that? Excuse me, there's always, there's a number that you can call to sort of like say, can I do it? But it's the preparation and it's really understanding the brief. And as I was saying, what we hope to do next year, well, we will be doing next year, is that all our competitions will be on our website, but we will give examples of, good styles. For example, when you say evening style, years ago, everybody thought that, that was hair up. It's not anymore, but an experienced judge can see if there's a long hair down in an evening style and long hair up. They can see, it doesn't, oh, that one's gone up, that one's gone down. So no, just really prepare them and if they've got any questions, let them do it.
Yeah, making sure they're aware of the timings and things as
Timings,
well. How long they've got on the
yeah,
floor is always an important one, isn't
yeah.
it? So that they're not kind of rushing towards the end.
Yeah,
And
time.
knowing when to
Again,
stop
that's
as
all
well.
preparation for work as well, isn't it? You know, because
Yeah.
in the salon you've got half an hour to do, your client a blow dry. You've got half an hour to do it on the competition floor. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And you did touch on this there because my next question was what is kind of next for AHT. And I know that the website is in the middle of going through a revamp. All the
yeah,
judges' information, things are on there. You've talked about you're going to be putting examples on
yeah.
of winners, which I think is our strong looks. And what about themes for next year? What's the plan for themes? Is this
They've
ever
already the
evolving?
themes. Yeah, the themes have already been decided, but in July. We've got a competition meeting, and we will be looking at the competitions that we did this year, revamping them, introducing new competitions. An example, because my daughter actually is the head judge for beauty, so obviously I listen to her. But it's like, for instance, in bridal makeup, um, it's I've seen the pictures, and the Asian brides look stunning. But I think that's one of the categories that we might actually there is a particular category for Asian brides. I think we've got to look at everybody, every gender, everything. One I'm not going to give up on is, and Nicola, I don't know how we're going to actually phrase it, but it's textured hair. I think that's a good example because a lot of people were thinking, oh, it's got to be textured as in cut. No, we actually meant type 4 hair. But, whether we can actually, what we can put in our rules, sometimes we've got our hands tied, but, I really want, if I really could say what I meant, I would say, Afro hair, but I can't say it. So, we've got to
Yeah.
think of a way of saying it. But there's so
Yeah,
many different things that we could do.
I think that is brilliant, and you actually took the words right out of my mouth because textured hair is a category that we has been introduced, I think, over the last year, hasn't it? And we've saw
Mm,
varying levels of participation. I think that's a really good point, is perhaps people's understanding of what that category means,
mm,
because the term textured is a kind of an overarching term for the texture of hair from types 1 through to 4C.
yeah.
So I think that's a really good point, that perhaps in the rules, if that's elaborated a little bit or on the website,
Mm,
then people
mm,
can. But there is lots of support at the AHT, so there's always people that they can reach out to that can,
mm,
if colleges and things are unsure, aren't they, as to
yeah,
what we mean, how to enter, how to become a member, what are the rules, all of those types of things. They're all accessible through the website now, aren't
mm.
they?
It's like, as I say, we try to go with what is in the industry. I mean, nails is a very big, and nail competitions we just went through the roof, and the work that those people have put into those. Well, you saw them, didn't you, Nicola?
Yeah.
They're just amazing. So
I
yeah,
can't paint my own fingernails
no,
with
no,
normal polish. So
no.
seeing the
And I would say
skill and expertise.
some of those beautiful evenings. I thought, oh God, I've had trouble getting that, getting work like that. But again, to sort of like give you an example, one of the competitors there is going to represent the UK at Euroskills and hopefully World Skills next year. I don't know how it happened, but at the regional heat, she missed out. She didn't get into the first three, so she was reserved. And about 10 minutes before the final in Blackpool, we heard that the one of the competitors from her area wasn't entering or didn't get there. So her employer said, "Oh, you get on the floor. You're the reserve." 10 minutes she had, and she ended up winning the competition.
Yeah,
So pressure is good, and enthusiasm.
yeah. With that then, in your opinion, Robert, what makes a winner? What makes a winner in competitions? What do you look for? What do you think that's a winner?
Right. If for example, it's down to detail. And at the end of the day, also, a lot of our for those of you that don't know too much about our competitions, a lot of them and now can be done on mannequins because we were obviously conscious of budgets in colleges and things like that. So if you got to a final, okay, you've got to take the student, and then you would have to take the model. But obviously, there are some competitions where we still have to have a live model. So that would, obviously in the men's barbering, for instance. So what makes a good one? It would be someone that's really paid attention to detail. For example, if I can remember at one, both me and another judge, we were going backwards and forwards, because we just didn't really know which one we could give our first place to. And in the end, it just came down to the front image. They were just so beautiful. But even in, especially if they are doing any long hair, if we see grips or pins, no, that can be a knockdown. And sometimes it's so easy, and especially if they're using a mannequin head, they're not going to go disco dancing or anything like that. They stay still, unlike a live model who moves their head sometimes. Those mannequins, so that if you've got a pin in it, sometimes I've said to them, look, take it out. Did it need to be there? No, because it's already there. So just sort of like look at the finer details of things, and also if you are using a live model, at the end of the day, that model also needs to be sort of like have a little word spoken to them, because at the end of the day, they've got to sell that style to the judge. And there's nothing worse than you're going around. I'll have a smile on my face, but when I look at that, and they just sort of like "Ugh," look at. So that's really important. The pose, the worst ones actually are the men. Once they
Yeah,
finish,
they are.
they've got
They are.
so like I've seen it happen. They've it's finished, gone off, and then they've gone like that with so, it's training them.
Put
It's
over
training
their
your
heads.
competitor, and it's training your model if you're using a live model. And getting back to the mannequin heads, um, don't let them practice on a cheaper one. But if you see that they've got the talent, it's worthwhile investing in a decent block, because it just shows. It really does show. The implant is better, etc. I know I've seen a head up there now 4 times, and I can remember it when it was cut and coloured by a student in a skills competition, and they've obviously kept it back at college. Don't you touch that one, and they use it. I can't fault, just because I've seen it every year. I can't fault it, because it's been blow dried perfectly. So
Yeah.
just that is another thing to think of. Think if you are going to use a mannequin, please consider getting a decent one.
Yeah, and I
And
think
reuse it.
our
Reuse
colleague
it.
Janet will probably drop some pivot point information
Yeah,
in there,
yeah.
because I know that they have some fabulous blocks, and I know
Mm.
Kerry uses them, including the textured. Sorry, Robert, I interrupted you there.
No, that's fine. No, no. That's why I said it, because obviously you said about pivot point, and I thought, well, I can't sort of like say, oh, pivot point, but a really good head is essential, mannequin head.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And final word from you, Robert. What is one thing that you are most excited about for competitions next year? I've just thrown that question in. We had didn't put
I'm
that in
really
the
looking forward to seeing how the new competitions that we introduced are developed. I'm really looking forward to the new ones that we're going to introduce, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody enter the competitions next year. And as I say, everything will be on the brief. I'm also looking forward to going to Denmark in September, where I'll be a skill advisor, and keeping my fingers crossed for Katie, the UK girl in hairdressing.
Fabulous. I'll tell you something, your enthusiasm and passion for this industry has not waned over many years, has it? And I think that's fantastic to see and hear. It's certainly an inspiration. quick question for everybody that's on the call. Do we have any competition salon colleges on here that enter or are thinking of entering? If you have, let us know.
We know the dates for next year's final, so you can put that into your planning.
And then finally, how they will find out more about this will be, if you want to follow on Instagram, Esther Russo, who is Robert's daughter, but she is our fabulous beauty judge. She now looks after all of the socials for AHT, so you will have seen a lot more social media activity, both promoting what is coming up for AHT, but also sharing the love and the good work of the students and colleges that enter, as do we. So it's on the screen there at AHT_comps_info. And I will also send on the information in the follow-up on the website as well.
Nicola,
So
I was just going to mention as well what's been really good this year. I mean, we've loved supporting AHT here at VTCT Skills, and they've introduced a membership, which is a corporate membership for colleges now. So that can make it a little bit easier if you're wanting to join as members. So all that membership will be on the website as well.
And that's exactly why Claire is the wonderful AHT ambassador. Really, yeah, really important. And we will make sure we share that information in the follow-up as well. So Robert, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I shall let you get back to your sunny south coast.
Okay.
And I shall look forward to
seeing you soon.
Seeing you soon, and enjoy
Okay.
Denmark as well.
Thank you very much, and have a good wedding.
Oh, yeah. Anybody
Is she getting married, Robert?
Didn't know I'm getting married. I talk to Robert about my hair all the time. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. So interesting. I have, as I said on the call there, I have absolutely loved being part of the AHT competition judging from Scotland all the way down throughout the last 3 years, particularly this last year, and have learned loads from Robert as well. He's been a real joy to work with. So I really appreciate him taking the time to join us today. And now on to our next guest. As you can see on the screen there, we are joined by the wonderful Kerry Galliano, who is an ambassador for Ergo Styling Tools. If you were with us last month, you will see that Kerry was also joined us last month and did a fantastic demonstration using the Ergo Styling Tools and a real introduction into what the brand is all about, what you can achieve, and a beautiful, beautiful finishing technique on a wonderful block, Kerry. So, Kerry, thank you again for joining us today. For those that weren't with us last month or are watching the recording, can you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself? What's your background and what are you doing particularly with Ergo Styling Tools?
Yeah, hi everyone, nice to be back. Thanks for having us back, Nicola and Claire. I'm Kerry Galliano. I am actually a freelance hairdresser at a freelance collective studio space, but I'm also an ambassador for Ergo Styling Tools throughout the UK, along with the team. My background, I've worked on different art teams and different high street salons throughout the UK, in London as well. I did a salon in London for 12 years and then moved to sunny Bedfordshire, and I'm now working in the collective space, but really connected with the mission of Ergo and being an ambassador for them, because I think it's really important that we can have a longevity of our careers, especially when, like myself, you're enjoying it so much, even at my age. So, and it's really nice to come along here to speak to everyone, to just share that mission with you, because it's a great time to get started with ergonomic way of thinking. I think we think that probably everybody's got sustainability on their lips now, but ergonomics is probably not so much. And that's why we're here, Nicola. So,
okay, so just tell us, what is ergonomics? What do you mean by ergonomics?
yeah, so the effect of ergonomics is probably, I would say most people would think or imagine a office worker at a desk, bent over a computer, and think about like sort of how literally that would affect their bodies and get problems with their backs and have to have physio and lots of things like that. Ergonomics, what it simply means is that the tool or the job should be working for the worker. Yeah. So the tool should be working for you. You are not working for it. So we shouldn't be like basically struggling with tools or positions with our bodies to make it work. Everything that we do has to be the opposite way around. Everything has to work for us, whether it's a pair of scissors to a brush. Obviously, we've got ergonomic brushes, which are amazing because they're designed by micro hand surgeons because of course we use these all the time repetitively, and that's the thing. We really need to be looking at how healthy, safe and productive that we can be with our jobs, and for a long time, and look after ourselves for that, to be within the career for a long time. And that's what it's all about for us, Nicola.
Excellent. One of the things that when you did last month, like the brushes are really standalone, different, aren't they? That the head length is longer, so you can cover more head space, etc. Can't you, when you're styling?
Yeah, the design of anything that you're looking at to pop into your kit or your salon chair, everything, your trolley, everything should be thought about that how it works for you. So the brushes themselves, like you're saying, like they're bigger, they're longer, they get around the head space, they've got a particular grip. We spoke about that quite a lot, didn't we, last time? But the tools themselves, are going to provide longevity for, we are really physical in our jobs, aren't we? In fact, they say actually that we're as physical, if not more so, than, get this, a bricklayer, right? I mean, who would have thought that? A hairdresser being more, active and than a bricklayer. But we get into, different body positions. If we think about what we do every day that's repetitive, that is where the ergonomics come in, to think about how we could protect ourselves throughout our careers and, be more productive. Because of course, if you are tired or you've got an injury and you're thinking about it as you're working, you're going to like sort of slide with, if you've got fatigue, you're going to slide with the service that you're providing, whether you like it or not. It will affect your work at some point, and that's what's really important for us to get right straight away. And it can, it's the little changes as well. You don't have to redesign your whole salon or your space. It's just thinking about it in an entirely different way. Just think about, instead of reaching over for products, or down here with your your trolley. So you want to make sure that all your top, the things that you use the most are at the top. Things like that. It's just little details that we can help prevent the body from becoming overly used and repetitive all the time, in motion.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint screen just now, so that we can then, now let me remember, somebody last time showed me how to make you. There we go. Okay, so if you, yeah, Kerry,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Okay, if you go ahead now and you can kind of go into showing us some of the demonstration things that you were going to say, because now we can see you as the full screen.
Amazing. Okay, so we have got I've got two things to show you. So I'm just going to pop her out of the way a second. I know where to position her at the minute. And can you see here at the section a little bit? Yeah. Just 1 second. Better there. So I've got my chair and my mirror here. Just 1 second. I'll do that ever so slightly more. How's that? Oh, that's it. Right. So basically, we all have, you know, the clients with the little fringes in the salon. You know, we have micro fringe. We have different lengths of fringes. That's not really the point, I guess. But basically, if you've got your client here and she's facing the mirror like this, then, you know, most of the time you see, you know, people coming in to try and cut the fringe, yeah, and they're leaning inward like this, yeah, to get to the fringe. Instead, so basically she's there looking at the mirror, the client, and you're finding a body position to try and get in to cut her fringe, and you're bending over like this. Instead, just do the really simple thing of just turning the chair around. She doesn't need to see the mirror, so she can be pointing at you, and you can go ahead and obviously cut your fringe. She doesn't need the mirror. She can see it afterwards. You can check it by swinging her back round if you want to check length, you know, but just by bringing it around to you, you're now making it better for yourself. You're at eye level. You can get into the whole fringe. You don't have to lean over and start cutting into the fringe like this. You've just got her in eye view like that, and I can see the whole fringe perfectly. I think another thing that I would point out here as well is if the client's in the chair forward like that, we do have like haircuts that sit around the shoulder, Nicola, you know, like a long bob or a lob or any kind of haircut like that. Well, the shoulder's sometimes in the way, isn't it? And you're fighting to get around instead of, you know, if you're trying to get around, move around to get to the shoulder, to get the bob cut. Instead, yeah, imagine that she's got her shoulder here. If you just get her to turn her head that way, opposite, then you have the whole of this chest area. So basically, if I'm cutting here and I just turn my head like that, I've got the whole of this area where I can work on the length here, and nothing's in the way of the haircut. So I'm not struggling to find where to stand or to, you know, get in front of the client. And we want to really work on that so that we're kind of finding the correct positioning rather than leaning over. Yeah. So that's her little fringe. Is everybody okay with that? We followed that, all right. And so that's one thing. Make sure that you're using your chair correctly. You've got the, you know, you're the right height. Make sure that you're up and down, or you've got a nice stool that you can work on, and finding the way that you can get into the shape of the hair, and obviously get it correct. So you're on the section, and you're not having to do the moving. The chair can do the moving, and the client is really happy to turn the head in any way that you need. Yeah, that's just communication value. Just ask them to just turn and tell them the reason why, because actually that's really great education for the client too. Yeah, so they really know that you know your stuff as well by saying that, which is amazing. So my other little demo is our gorgeous Louise. By the way, that was Gwyn from Pivot Point. And are we okay there? Are we good there? Yeah. So with blow drying, wavy hair, for example, on length, what we can kind of tend to do is we will have the dryer and we'll get the hair and it'll be up here and we'll be stretching away and we'll be twisting and we're all over with our bodies trying to make it work, and we're working too high above our shoulders, making these work too much. And with long wavy hair, you can find yourself kind of doing this, can't you, to blow dry? Yeah. So simple way of doing this, this is gorgeous Louise. She's made her debut last month, at the beginning of this month, I should say. So pre-groom the hair to make sure all the hairs are going in the right direction. And then we set the hair and put the tails of the hair around the end of the brush. We've got plenty of room on these brushes. And this is on a diagonal back section. Then this technique actually as well, you can catch on Pivot Point Lab. So it's a really great place to pop over and just look at the technique itself. And it's on the ergo section of Lab, and it's the wavy blow dry. And also as well, you can see really clearly the body positioning as well, yeah, because it's always talking about ergonomics with the brushes. So basically with this, again, you keep your shoulders lower, yeah, you're not coming too high. You blow dry the root, yeah, get the roots dry, and then basically you turn the brush to 12 o'clock and continue here to dry. Then you use your pinky, your little finger, and groom through the ends. And then you would take can you see that? Take the ends there and then wrap them up. And then you go to 6 o'clock there, yeah? So basically, what that's going to do is give you that lovely S-bend. Your body then is going to come in front and just dry it here at this point. So there's no overstretching. Yeah. And then again, like once you take that out, you would automatically pin curl that back up with your creaseless clips. But it's a way of doing long wavy hair without overusing yourself, you know, overstraining. You know, I see so many people like sort of giving it all of this, you know, and sometimes even people holding the barrel of the hairdryer, and that's the heaviest part. So the strain on your hand holding it like this is not great after a lot of repetitive time. So that technique really works really well for getting a nice wavy section and a really gorgeous wavy blow dry without over leaning or using your body. Yeah, especially if you're doing long hair all day, you know, if you're prepping like for a bridal stylist and you're prepping your blow drying, you're spending a lot of hours blow drying, you know. And of course, like when you've got the wrong brush as well, you will be like not using the grip properly. You'll be like literally calling it a white knuckle blow dry. You're squeezing to hold, and your knuckles are turning literally white. Like literally, you're gripping. You can't keep it going. So you're holding and making your hands so stiff like this. So by the time you've got your wrists going and your action for the blow dry, you're really putting strain on there by holding it so tightly. And like so to have a nice soft grip for the hours that you're doing your blow drying would, you know, it's far less work for your hands. So they are really key points to look for when you like sort of blow dry. Just think about it while you're doing it. You know, even if you've got your, you know, your own technique that you do now, just change those little things, and they will become big. You know, they will improve everything about your longevity of your career, the happiness of your client, because you'll not like get fatigue, and you'll keep the customer service to a high standard and a high quality. So it's all those things to make yourself productive for longer, you know. And I think that, you know, it's not going to cost you to do that either. It's just thought, you know.
I think I'm going to just put you back onto gallery view while I speak, because otherwise you see my face there. How many of us were laughing inside when Kerry was doing the big arms up and round? Because not only have I blow dried like that myself, I've had my hair blow dried like that so many times. And I think that for a lot of the people on this call, they are working with the future generation of our hairdressers, and some of the things that you see as part of the criteria and qualifications, for example, is making sure that they understand to prepare themselves, prepare their area, looking at the posture, those sorts of things. So not only is this useful for practitioners, but also to implement into teaching strategies as well to help the longevity, because if you're 16 learning to blow dry now, you want a long happy healthy career, don't you? So I think some of these techniques are absolutely future proofing them.
Yeah, and it goes over into beauty as well, beauty beds, nail desks, you know, and also as well, even looking at the right footwear now. You know, we don't have to dodder around and teeter around salons in heels like we did back in the day. You know, like some of that were uniform, and you'd be like sort of on little heels all day because that's what you had to wear. You know, but just changing your footwear into smart, comfortable footwear that you've got for a day's long standing, you know, is just superb. And then we've also got these within Ergo as well, and just something like that. We recommend like little mini micro breaks, even, Nicola, at 30 seconds, even if you just to take a bloody breath, you know, like you're like, oh my God, she took me images. And, you know, I had to really work hard with this particular client because she had me, you know, chatting and working out her hair and all the colours that she wanted, and then I had to finish, you know, and we're kind of on our feet, thinking on our feet constantly, aren't we? Whether it's a maths equation, it's solving a colour, you know, getting the perfect finish, making sure we've hit the mark with the service, we've rebooked her in. You know, some people like to stand 10 minutes at reception talking and they think, oh my God, I've got to go because I've got the next one, you know. And basically, we've got a lot to do and think about. So even 30 seconds, or just even having a toilet break. Yeah. Even, you know, that on its own, instead of like sort of waiting for 2 more clients, just go to the bloody loo, you know. So this also as well, after a day's work like that, you can use something like this to just give your hands a nice massage. Yeah. And literally, you can pop it on the ball of your feet and in at a wall and roll your shoulder with it as well. And they're great. Simple little thing, but really effective at the end of the day. And, you know, really, all it is that ergonomically, we should be thinking that our bodies and our hands are our best tools, basically.
Absolutely. And last month, we shared with the collective a QR code to get Ergo Styling VTCT skill specific college kits, student kits. So are we okay to share that with the collective again this month?
Absolutely, yeah. Please go and have a look. It's been we really want to give you a nice little starter kit of ergonomic brushes. It's a great price. It's the cheapest one of for any, you know, for VTCT. You can head over to the website, have a browse. if you're not sure about it, or you want to change any of the brushes in and out, you know, or you want to like sort of just add to the kit, you can even give me just drop me a little message and I can help you choose the right ones. But it does give you a really nice little starter kit. You know, you get a couple of nice round brushes. The bestseller is in there, which is perfect. This one is the bestseller. It's the number 43. It's one of the 2 mediums. But I think for starting with the right brushes, it's got a great little kit for VTCT on there, you know. And I'll try and get some of these popped in.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. And then just one more final thing. You talked about, I think Janet's put it in the chat, the link to the styling videos. And this, to be fair, was new to me last month, that Pivot Point Lab has an industry section on it, and ergo styling tools are on that. So
Yeah.
last month you did the lift and lock technique, was that correct?
It's the set, lock and lift.
Set, lock and lift, that's it. Okay, the set, lock and lift.
Yeah, it's a foolproof way of getting some really great finishing on your blow dries. And if anyone's thinking about those competitions to do long hair blow drying, it's perfect because you get a really beautiful guaranteed finish. And all you've got to do is practice it. Get a beautiful long haired pivot point. This, as I say, this is Louise, but there's some new ones in stock as well now. So have a little browse on Pivot Point for the long competition hair. And just get cracking, give it a go. And actually, even if you don't come anywhere in any competition, the main thing what I've learned when I've not come anywhere is the fact that it is taught me more about myself and what I know about my job and how I'm working at that time and where I need to perhaps take time out to improve or to like sort of, it's just like sort of you kind of take stock of, because of the entry, because you're working on it, and if you're not pushing yourself, you're not getting to that awkward moment with thinking, oh my God, will this work? So it's just really nice to enter anyway, because it'll make you practice your skill, and your craft, above anything. So definitely go ahead and, as I say, you've got great mannequin heads from Pivot Point. They're beautiful. Obviously styling tools, head over to Ergo, have a look at the kit. And for perfect finishing, they're brilliant,
Excellent. All right. Thank you, as always, Kerry. You've been an absolute joy. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your skills, and also your endless passion for the industry. So thank you again. For everyone that's joined us today or is watching the recording afterwards, I will be sharing all of the Ergo styling tools information afterwards, as well as Kerry's details. So you're always open. Your DMs are always open, as they say. Is that right, Kerry? Take questions on Ergo, styling, competitions, training, education, all things hairdressing.
Absolutely.
Super. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Kerry. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you, as I say again, to Kerry. I think that the work that Kerry has been sharing with us for the last month as well are so useful to be able to share with your students as well. So if you didn't register for last month, you can still access all of the recordings. When I send you the link to this month's recording, you'll be able to see all our previous collectives for all our sectors. So you should be able to see what Kerry did last month as well. So moving on, I have a snapshot of some of the future events that we have. I think we talk about this every month on the collective. The collective live tour has finished now for this academic year, but we'll be back in the new year. So details on that to follow. But that VTCT events are not just collectives. We have face-to-face events, webinars, online events, and they are covering all sectors and all areas of the country. So here's just a snapshot of some of the things that are coming up, if these are in your region or in your sector area that you are interested in. So we have a higher level beauty event. As you may be aware, we have a huge, extensive higher level beauty portfolio. We are leading the way, and we are just about to launch tomorrow our injectables program as well. So this higher level beauty event is face to face, and it is being held in Leeds. And this will be where we'll be giving you an insight into all of the developments that we have on the higher level beauty suite and how you can get involved with them. And we have our higher level beauty experts there who are on hand to answer any questions you have as well. Moving into June, in my homeland of Scotland, we have a nail services event with the wonderful leading nail brand Glitterbells. This is a face-to-face event, and this is open to students and to teaching staff. And essentially anybody who has an interest in nails. So you could have beauty therapy students, makeup students, hairdressing students, or true nail curriculum sector as well, because this is going to be very much an inspiration, innovation type event. So think of the Collective Live, but nails. And that is in Glasgow, City of Glasgow College, so very central for travel. There's only about 20 spaces left on it. We did have to increase the capacity of it because it's been really popular, but a great one if you have students and teaching staff who want to get into all things nails. And then if you are on the call or have registered and you are based in Northern Ireland, myself and my colleague Nikki, we are heading over there on the 11th of June, and we're doing a hair and beauty event specifically for Northern Ireland. And I think that's one of the things that is really important to share with everybody when it comes to these events, is that we make sure that we make them bespoke to regions. So Northern Ireland, this is very much about what is the market like over there, what types of programs do you want to run, and what type of experts do you want to see and hear from. So this one on the 11th of June, and we're going to be covering hair, beauty, and higher level beauty as well. Now, there are many, many more events. We have the Beauty Collective, which we run every month. I shared that with you last month. We have the Early Years Collective. We have the Endpoint Assessment Surgeries, and all of the event information. If you go over to VTCT Skills /media/events, then that will take you to the event calendar. And I will also put a link to the event calendar in the follow-up email. Couldn't think what I was calling it there. Claire, is there anything you want to add to events there?
Just going to say, for next academic year, as Nicola's mentioned, so we will have the collectives, we will have face-to-face for hair and beauty, and we will have nation-specific days, but we will be branching out into other sectors as well. So for those of you on the call that may have responsibility across other areas, and watch out for those, and please spread the love and share that within your centres for people to come along.
Thank you. And then finally, as I mentioned, we have the last Hair and Barbering Collective of this side of the academic year. That meeting is booked in for the 17th of June. I believe that to be a Tuesday again. As always, as long as you're registered, you will get the follow-up recording and all of the information and any resources or assets with that one. I know for definite, confirmed for next month, we have a guest artist who is doing some bridal work for us. Interestingly, linking back to competitions, it is continually, consistently across the whole of the country, the most entered category that we have. I think we had 74 entries to judge in just one competition alone. So we are bringing that to you next month. And we also have Belinda Hillman, who is coming on to talk about the Learner's Voice podcast, and also talking about some new training that she's developed in supporting classroom management. So a lot of insight from her. As always, the link to register will be in the follow-up comms as well. Before I round up, Claire, are there any questions or comments or anything in the chat that we want to share?
Yeah, there's just one question that's come through regarding CPD certificates for attending events, and the EQA has asked regarding that. If you want to drop an email, Nicola, your email will be in the follow-up, won't we?
Yes.
And we'll follow that up for you. But going forward for next academic year, we will be giving certificates of attendance, and then it will be a discussion on an individual basis with your EQA to whether that warrants CPD hours or not, because obviously everybody's CPD needs are different. So we don't know whether you're learning a new skill or a new area, because it depends on your individual needs. So yeah, if you want to drop us an email regarding that one, but like I say, going forward from next academic year, you will get a certificate of attendance, and then you will need to justify for your EQA whether or not you've developed any CPD hours.
Okay, so
that was the only one, Nicola.
That's okay. All right. So for those of you that are watching the recording, thank you for taking the time to watch it. I hope you've enjoyed it. And of course, to everybody that's joined us today, thank you so much for joining us. It really does mean a lot to us that you consistently come and support this. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from both our guests today. So Robert Russo talking all things AHT. I'll be sending you the information to head over to the AHT to find out all about next year's competitions, the themes, how to enter, that new membership status that Claire mentioned earlier. And then also thank you again to Kerry Galliano and Ergo Styling Tools. Janie and Jonty from Ergo Styling Tools, I'm sure you're watching this recording now. I hope your move went well. Thank you for your continued support to VTCT Skills. And yes, thank you. Have a super day, everybody. Thank you very much, and see you all next month.
Thank you.